Nu drabbas allt fler barn och helt oskyldiga människor av det grova våldet. Jag kan inte nog understryka.
Welcome to a glimpse of Sweden you might not recognize. Once celebrated as the epitome of peace, prosperity and safety, ranking as the 9th safest country in the world back in 2013, Sweden today is a different story, one that no one expected just a decade ago. With 363 shootings recorded in 2023, incidents are 5 times as common as its neighboring countries, considering population size. Sweden's gun death rate now trails only behind Albania in Europe, a stark contrast to the serene image it once held. The situation has become so bad, Sweden is preparing its armed forces to deal with the current violence in the country. In some areas, ambulances require police escort to reach wounded patients. This brings us to the question, how did Sweden, once such a peaceful nation, find itself in this situation? Prime Minister of Sweden Ulf Kristersson has come out saying Sweden is in the midst of something it's never faced before, and it's not a situation seen anywhere else in Europe. He describes it as a mix of turf battles between gangs, deep-seated personal vendettas, and notably a large number of young people caught in the middle. A lot of these youths come from immigrant backgrounds, originating from countries across Africa and the Middle East like Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Somalia. Kristersson highlights that this blend of elements is what's fueling the current wave of violence sweeping across Sweden. Since the early 1990s, Sweden has seen an enormous increase in immigration. While the country welcomed approximately 40,000 immigrants annually during the 1970s and 80s, the numbers have dramatically increased, especially in the last decade. It peaked at almost 170,000 immigrants in 1 year in 2015, a 4-fold increase from the recent norm. But why did Sweden open for all this immigration, and how did it go so wrong? Let's take a quick dive back in time. Between 1870 and 1940, Sweden saw an average of about 6,000 immigrants each year, with most coming from neighboring countries like Norway, Denmark, and Germany. But then, after World War II, which by the way Sweden had a neutral stance in, things started to change dramatically. Sweden embraced the idea of multiculturalism and began opening its doors to refugees from continents far beyond Europe. In no time, Sweden skyrocketed to the top of the charts in Europe, becoming the country that welcomed the highest number of non-European immigrants relative to its population. Bringing in immigrants to combat an aging population is a strategic move for many countries. Here's why. In nations where the birth rate is low, a significant challenge arises as the current workforce ages and transitions into retirement. This is where things get tricky. Who's going to work and keep the social security system, which our retirees rely on, afloat? That's right, more working people are needed to step in, both to take care of the older generation and to fund the social security system. And that's a gap immigrants can help fill. Of course, there are plenty of other great reasons why countries open their doors to immigration, and trust me, we could easily fill an entire video diving into all those details, but you get the point. So, this immigration strategy by Sweden was nicely planned. However, integration of foreign immigrants has shown to be hard. Let's break it down. Imagine stepping into a new country, and you're hit with a whirlwind of challenges. First off, there's the language. It's like everyone's speaking in code. Then there's the culture. What's normal back home suddenly feels out of place. And jobs. Finding one that really values your skills can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. But it's not just about jobs and languages. It's about feeling like you belong. From a search of belonging and identity, there is where gangs begin to form in communities. Some shocking stats from Sweden would be that the employment rate among native Swedes is quite high at 83.4%, contrasting with the 65% rate for non-European immigrants. This gap is further highlighted in the unemployment figures, where non-European immigrants experience a 20% unemployment rate, significantly higher than the 4.6% for native-born Swedes. This paints a clear picture of the integration challenge. The link between integration difficulties and gang formation is clear. Economic pressures, combined with a lack of belonging, push some towards illegal activities, with gangs emerging as a false promise of community and identity for young immigrants at a crossroads. These formed gangs doing criminal activities are a big burden for Sweden, both in safety for its people and for its economy. The main issue for these current problems would be the failed integration of the immigrants. Despite many immigrants bringing a wealth of skills and education to the table, there are a lot of barriers when entering the Swedish job market. About 2 out of 3 jobs are filled by informal methods, which means the recruitment does not involve an open application process. Not speaking the language makes this difficult for foreign immigrants. Also, many immigrants find themselves living in neighborhoods cut off from the wider society, making it hard to build those all-important local networks. Kids from immigrant families often also lag behind in schools, especially in areas with fewer resources and more students needing extra support. Despite efforts in this area, the gap persists. One other key aspect would be the realm of policy and public feelings. This part is really important. Sweden's been trying to help immigrants fit in better, but some folks say it's not enough or not quite right. Plus, how Swedes feel about immigration is changing. They're worried about keeping their culture and staying safe, and these worries are guiding the rules on how to welcome and integrate immigrants. It's like Sweden is trying to find the best way to do this, but it's a bit of a balancing act. As Sweden grapples with these unprecedented challenges, the nation is taking decisive steps to turn the tide. From revamping integration programs to strengthening law enforcement and community outreach, Sweden is committed to restoring peace and order. These efforts include enhancing language and job training programs to ensure that immigrants can successfully enter the workforce, thereby reducing the temptation of joining gangs. Moreover, Sweden is investing in educational reforms aimed at providing equal opportunities for all children, regardless of their background. The government is also focusing on breaking down the barriers of segregation by encouraging more mixed housing developments and facilitating greater social cohesion. But what does all this mean for Sweden's economy? The stakes are high. The surge in violence and the underlying issues of integration have economic outcomes, from increased security and policing costs to impacts on the business environment. The challenges are putting pressure on Sweden's public finances. Additionally, there's the concern that the ongoing issues may deter international investment and tourism, critical components of Sweden's economy. Yet, it's not all gloom and doom. Addressing these challenges head-on presents an opportunity for economic revitalization. By successfully integrating its immigrant population, Sweden can harness a wealth of talent and diversity, driving innovation and economic growth. This includes tapping into the entrepreneurial spirit of many immigrants, fostering new business, and filling critical skills gaps in the labor market. In essence, Sweden's journey towards resolving its current crises is not just about restoring safety and harmony. It's about building a stronger, more inclusive economy that leverages the full potential of its diverse population. The road ahead is complex, but with concerted efforts, Sweden aims to emerge not only as a safer place, but as a more vibrant and resilient economy. As we watch Sweden navigate these challenges, the world is watching and learning. The lessons from Sweden's experience offer valuable insights for other countries facing similar dilemmas, highlighting the intricate link between social integration, security, and economic prosperity. So, what are your thoughts on Sweden's approach to solving its current problems? And how do you see the situation evolving in the future? Let's discuss in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe if you found the video interesting. Thank you for watching.